Today, I want to get into what I refer to as really the power of resilience or increasing your resilience and really learning what that is. So, if we want to talk about resilience, it's probably important that we know exactly what resilience is. And being in this space for a long time, I've gotten the opportunity to work with hundreds, if not thousands, of people over the years, and it has tested my resilience. It's tested people's resilience. But as we, learn what resilience is and how we increase it, our chances of success will go up greatly. So first off, let's talk about what it is, and I'm going to give you a little definition of it. And it's very simply the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It's also one of the definitions is toughness. And I love that, it says toughness, because toughness is really that ability to, we have to understand things are not always going to go the way we've planned. And if you've been around at any point in life, you've realized that not everything always goes the way you expect it to. You may have a perfectly laid out plan. It may be laid out to the T. You may know every single step, your goal, how you're going to get to that goal. And, but we quickly find out that things don't always go that way. So one of the keys to really having a solid plan in place and, really how do we develop that toughness is also understanding that things are going to change. Okay. And maybe as we work our plan, our vision of what we've put together, we need to be willing to shift gears here and there. Okay. And that's very, very important for us to understand and for us going forward. So there's a couple things that I want to share about resilience and why it's so important. And the first one is really being self-aware. Being self-aware is a very, very important aspect to resilience. It's kind of knowing where you are, who you are, your own personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your emotions, how they work. It's being aware of your weaknesses, really. I mean, the thing that really stands out to me there is your weaknesses. Okay. The reason it stands out is because I don't like to focus on my weaknesses, but I do want to be aware of them. Because what happens is when we recognize where our weaknesses are, those are areas where we can reach out to somebody for coaching or support, a mentor, somebody to help us there. Maybe you're not incredibly, adept at certain aspects of business. This might be where you're aware of where your weakness is, and then you can look to maybe outsource that to somebody or have somebody do that which you are not fully, capable of. The best CEOs on the planet, they are fully aware of their own weaknesses. Okay. Nobody is perfect. Everybody has weaknesses, but being aware of them allows us to recognize them. And what we can do is we can work around that. So if we recognize a weakness, we say, okay, now how can I formulate a plan to get around that? Number one, I can work on making it a strength. That's certainly possible. You can certainly make weaknesses strengths by, inundating your brain with positive material, positive philosophy, positive, reading, courses, training, all kinds of things like that. You can overcome your weaknesses that way. And that's a great way to do it. But if you really want to be efficient, it's also learning to get around it and using resources that help you go around those weaknesses. So being self-aware is incredibly important to building resilience and toughness. The ability to bounce back quickly. How many times have you been faced in your internet marketing career with a challenge? Maybe it's a tech challenge. I have seen people quit because they couldn't get a capture page right. Like they got so frustrated because of the capture page that they just threw in the towel. I saw one lady many, many years ago. She was pushing for a promotion really, really hard and missed the promotion in her network marketing company. She missed the promotion, was so ticked off that she quit and left, never came back, never heard from her again. That was not a good example of resilience. We are going to have disappointments. That is an absolute fact. And you have to, be willing to accept that fact. Now, I'm not suggesting that when we have a disappointment, we grovel in it. That is certainly not the key. You want to acknowledge it. I put out a Facebook post a couple weeks ago that talked about, basically when something negative happens to us, or we're frustrated at something, it's totally fine and totally normal to recognize the frustration. It's totally normal for us to want to bitch about it for a period. It's totally normal for us to want to complain about that frustration. And here's the way I say you deal with it. Go ahead, get it out, talk about it, flush it out of your system, get it all out. But then from that point, now you got to decide how you're going to move forward. There's nothing wrong with voicing frustration as long as you don't stay there. That's the key. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have it. We've all deal with it. So many people there's this thing called toxic positivity. Okay, I've heard it called that. I've just been calling it, the inherent problem with the personal development industry is the think positive type of mindset. Now, I'm not against thinking positive, but what I am against is thinking so positive that you ignore your problems. Oh no, I'm just not even going to acknowledge that. Just not going to even acknowledge that because I don't want to deal with it. And that's what a lot of people do. They think so positively that they refuse to acknowledge the problem that's right in front of their face. That is not how you become resilient. You become resilient by learning to deal with the issue with a positive outcome mindset. You understand? So even though something may negatively happen, you acknowledge what's happened, and then you start to say, okay, now how can I overcome this? And then you have the positive outlook to reach that end. That's how you become resilient. Okay? And so thinking positively in and of itself is not a bad thing, but it's how you apply it that really makes the difference. Okay? So being self-aware, very, very important. No question about it. Now, one of the other things that is very, very important to building resilience and that mental toughness is you have to have self-care. Okay? Self-care is incredibly important. Sometimes we refer to it as me time, or I need to take care of myself. And that is absolutely true. We do need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And that looks different for everyone. Okay. I am no good to my wife and daughter if I am not healthy. I am no good to my wife and daughter if I am not taking care of myself. Okay. I have seen people in this industry where they are so obsessed with getting a result that they literally stay up all night, hardly sleep, and it burns them out to the point where they end up quitting anyway. Okay, I've seen that, believe it or not, in the past. I've seen people get so burned out. I know people that were like, oh, I stayed up till 4 a.m, got up to go to work at 6, came home and started working again. I'm like, yeah, you ain't gonna be doing well after a couple days after that. So self-care is important. I'm telling you, a good night's sleep is so crucial to your success. I'll tell you, it is so, so, so important. I see people out there, especially, not downing network marketing for sure. I love network marketing, but there's a lot of people that have this idea, well, we can sleep when we're dead. I remember hearing that one time. Well, sleep when we're dead, man. We're going to go at it. We're going to do it, And it's like, yeah, cool. But you got to make sure you take care of yourself too. This whole idea of no sleep and constant hustle is absolutely detrimental to your health. It's detrimental to your outcome, and it's detrimental to your productivity. So don't always adopt this hustle, hustle, hustle mindset where you don't take care of yourself, because a week, a month, 2 months from now, you're going to be a vegetable and you're not going to hardly get anything done. Bad amount of sleep at night equals bad productivity during the day. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I know because I've done it in the past and it's not good. So take care of yourself. Very, very important. Okay. What you eat every day. That's very important as well. That's something my wife and I have really taken on over the last, this entire year. Since the beginning of the year, we have really changed how we eat in a lot of ways. I'm down, about 30 pounds. I'm kind of stuck there at the moment, but that's fine. I'm in this for the long haul. But that's a very, very important thing to building resilience. You got to have good energy. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Any health issues you have, make sure that you address them. All right. But maybe, I'm not afraid to tell anybody this, but maybe, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, I started to realize that, you know what? I just don't feel like I'm sleeping all that great. And, me snoring at night has always been an issue with my wife and I. And, so I finally decided, well, I'm going to get a sleep test, and found out that I had light sleep apnea. And so I ended up getting a CPAP machine, which I wear at night when I sleep now. And dude, it has done wonders for me. Oh my gosh. And that is one little thing of addressing, you're taking care of yourself. I'm not afraid to tell people that I wear that at night. I don't care. I care less what people think. All I know is I get a damn good night's sleep. And when I wake up and I sit down at my desk at like 7:30 in the morning, I'm ready to rock, man. I'm ready to go to it. I'm up, a lot earlier than that. But when I sit down and I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. And I rarely need naps anymore. Every once in a while I'll take one, but the point is I'm just to a point where I'm really working hard to take care of myself. I love my business. I work my business, but the weekends are off limits. Like, I do very little work on the weekends. Now, I'm not suggesting you don't. I'm full-time in this. Okay. So I work Monday through Friday. But I take the weekends off because it's family time for me. It's, I got to take care of me too, so, I separate. I do very, very little work. If there's something major, then I'll hop on and do what I need to do, but it's all about self-care. And this has helped me to be around since January of 2009. Okay. In MLSP. That's what's allowed me to be around long-term in this online marketing world. It's been about 14 years. I actually got started about 6 months before I found MLSP, but here I am 14 years later, still doing this. I've been full-time since 2012. Here I am, still doing this because I've learned the art of self-care as well, taking care of myself. That is a huge, huge part of it. And I'm going to leave you with this one. This is very important as well for building resilience, is building positive relationships with people in your space. Finding people that you can connect with, people that you can trust. It's very, very important that you become part of a community. And obviously right here in MLSP, you have a community of people that are there to support you. But you really want to dive deeper and really find your kind of your core, your core 2 or 3 people that you can bounce ideas off of. I have a really, really good friend of mine, incredible friend, dear friend. Some of you may or may not know him. His name's Ron Gielach. He's been, around the MLSP community, been spoken on stage at MLSP, but a very dear friend of mine. Him and I, every single week, we get on the phone and we talk to each other. We pray for each other. We encourage each other. There's times when he's down. He needs somebody to give him some good advice. There's times when I'm down. I need somebody to give me good advice. He gives me that. He's a really good friend of mine. And you need that in your life. You need somebody that's going to help lift you up when you're not feeling it. Okay. So having a positive relationship like that is very, very important. Okay. The internet can be very, very lonely. Okay. If you're not careful. Okay. This is why being a part of a community is so crucially important, not only for your business, but it also plays into your self-care. It plays into your weaknesses and your strengths. It's just one of those core aspects that is crucially important for the success of the individual, and the individual is you. So next time you go out there, make sure that you're looking at these 3 things. Number 1, work on self-awareness. Be aware of where you're weak. Be aware of where you're strong. Be aware of your emotions and where you're at. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, and make sure that you're building some positive relationships with people so that when you're feeling down and you need somebody to pick you up, you have it there. Build those. Find those people. You get them in your life. I'm telling you, it'll make a huge, huge difference. All right.